Hey guys, it's Al. Jumping on to 7 days, changing up from Warframe for a little while here. It's day 8. We're at 8 o'clock at night. Pushing 9 o'clock. So, it's kind of a 7 day recap. We had some issues on our Horde night from last night. So far, Alpha 21, I like the overall modifications. The graphics overhaul is nice. The changes in the skill perks are nice. If you're not familiar with the changes, I would suggest reading the patch notes, but a quick run through. No more glass jars. No glass jars, no crafting glass jars, no getting glass jars back after you drink water, no glass jars. Also, no getting cans back after you eat or drink the cans. So this is a slight problem early game. They added these guys, the dew collectors, so they make 3 bottles every once in a while. It's better than nothing. So you need a water filter without perks. They're like 22.50, I think, from the trader. The thing they did do is you can drink out of the water directly, but you run your risks for dysentery and you do take health damage for doing so. So essentially, you have to loot all your murky water and then convert it over to boiled water as normal. The biggest difference is they overhauled the skills once again. So my primaries are fortitude and agility. I generally run heavy archery, knives because I like to make them for harvesting. Um, I go light armor, parkour. When I have time, I take the stealth perks because I do a lot of the hunting stuff. So then my secondary is fortitude. I had to put points into brawler because we had a horde that we disconnected in the middle of when it was done, and then when we loaded back in, it restarted. So I was out of arrows. So I got a couple perks in there. But the cool thing is they added one of these instead of like the T-Rex being the stamina regen one on kills, they added basically one per tier. So this is 10% punching is faster, 17%, 25% faster. That's nice. That doesn't have the stamina on kills, but stamina costs are reduced. Stamina costs are reduced. And then killing blows grant 10 stamina. So they added it into your primary tree instead of having to put points into strength to take T-Rex, which is immensely helpful. So top tier, knuckle weapons deal 50% more damage, have a higher chance to explode heads with punches. Killing blows grant 30% stamina, or 30 stamina. And then the cool thing is tier 1, the last clause on here, find more knuckle weapons and parts and loot. So instead of every tier you put in, you get it crafted at a higher level. Now you have to find the weapons and the parts. So whichever perks you spec into increases your probability of finding the loot or associated schematics. So normally I'm brawler. I'm going to do lightning hands when I have the perks. I'm huntsman, well insulated, living off the land. I try to get pain tolerance when I can, but I prioritize healing factor, iron gut, and cardio because, well, I like to have my 30% stam regen here, plus my reduced stam cost of jumping by 40%, jump 2 meters higher, and increase safe ball distance by another 5 meters, plus never get a sprained or broken leg from falling. So, I essentially am. I set up, when I get a chance, I set up 1 point into pack mule just to have it until we get the mods to actually do stuff. Because I basically run myself as a pack mule. As soon as I can find my running shoes and my college jacket, then I'm a happy camper. And worst case scenario, I got coffee and Mega Crushes. So Master Chef. In prior, you take tier 1 in Master Chef, you unlock the bacon and eggs and all that kind of stuff. They got rid of the perks just automatically giving you access to recipes. Recipes are all learned. So tier 1 is 20% less of a recipe's main ingredients and cook 40% faster. The primary thing is find more cooking magazines and loot. So your forges, all of that kind of stuff is now only craftable by finding the corresponding magazines and reaching an appropriate tier. So you still have your regular perk books. I don't think these really changed, but they added the crafting skills book. So harvesting tools, if we jump over here, boost loot odds with miner 69er. It tells you what the magazine is, and that increases your quality for your crafting harvesting tools. Day 7, I got 15 points in here. I've got no points in miner. So I got lucky and found a lot of schematics. So by day 7, I was crafting tier 5 stone tools and tier 2 iron. I need 3 more books, and then I'll unlock tier 3. Steel tools, I'm at 15 to 27. Mechanical tools, I'm at 15 to 60. So you can actually go down this list. To unlock the claw hammer and nail guns, it's advanced engineering. Salvage tools, I got lucky and I found some, so boost loot odds for salvage operations. Knuckles, well, I'm 1 point short of where I want to be there. Tier 5 knuckle wraps, which will be awesome. So one of the things I would recommend would be if you have specific trees that you'd like to stay in, take one of all of those relative perks as soon as you can to boost your loot odds of those specific magazines. Start scaling up a little quicker. Blades is deep cut still. And then I'm tier 3 on my bone knives. I'm nowhere near my hunting knives. Clubs, I found a couple random books. I don't spec into clubs. Sledgehammers, I got no idea why I have so many sledgehammer books, but whatever. Bows, so I had my tier 5 by day 7. Wooden bow's only tier 1. It goes to tier 2 in a couple. And my compound crossbow is way down here at 68 books. I got some time before I'm going to get there. So, all in all, the changes slow down the power leveling and slow down the snowball a little bit, which is actually making this a little bit more survival orientated, I guess would be the best way. It also makes looting a lot more worthwhile. So the guy that's sitting at home mining and building isn't necessarily the one getting all of the levels. So, definitely some interesting changes. The biggest thing to start is trying to get food and water. So normally I spec agility first. I spec fortitude, went living off the land because we had already found some plants. Spears, I'm not going to spec into, so I got a couple points there. Pistols, that's in my agility tree. I haven't taken any perks. I've just gotten lucky on finding books. It's nice to have perks in there at some point. Shotguns, I'm not going to spec into. Rifles, not going to spec. Explosives are fun, but probably not going to spec there either. Robotics, I found a bunch of them early on, which is cool because one of my other players tends to go into robotics, and well, I craft higher than he does right now, so that's just fun. Armored up, boost loot odds with heavy armor or light armor. It increases both of them simultaneously depending on which tier you're specking into, which is kind of cool. So, I mean, military and steel armor's down here, top tier at 39 points for level 1. And it tells you on the side what your max books are, so. Medical, I've gotten really lucky on that, so 22 is 75. Food, I did spec into Master Chef for that one, so I do have, I'm 36 out of 100 points right now, so getting there. Seeds is taking forever. Literally taking forever. I've got, 2 or 3 of my tiers? I got 2 of my 3 tiers. And I am at 4 of 20. The nice thing is, there's only 20, so maybe they slowed it down intentionally. Electricians, advanced engineering. Traps is advanced engineering. Workstations, advanced engineering, and or lockpicks, which is interesting. So forge ahead gets you your forges, your bellows, your anvils, all that kind of stuff through your cement mixers. I haven't taken any points on here. I've just gotten lucky. But, I mean, I'm still 12 books short of a cement mixer. And way down here at 75 is my crucible, which sucks for me for later, but that is what it is. Grease Monkeys still cars, but it's just once again increases the loot odds of those corresponding magazines. So really interesting changes. All in all, can't complain too much. It makes it feel a little bit more realistic to me. And a little bit more... It makes it a little slower, but it feels like your time's a little bit more better spent while you're out looting. So inside the house, we've barely started. Normally we've got a whole wall, so this is just basic labeled boxes. We found... This is an RNG, so... We have a home base here. We found out another base that we could set up here. So that was set up for a horde base because it was close by, which is cool. We got a couple of towns. There's a trader over here, town here, trader up here. So, I mean, we're kind of in the Greenland by a bunch of stuff. Close by to water, not that we can refill our jars. So, you know, there is that. Just one forge. We got our cooking station up, got our workbench up. We haven't done a whole lot to this house yet because we barely started. Our map is set on easy because we wanted to get a chance to experience the changes without running too hard for our lives. A little bit of farm stuff going on. Work on filling this in when I get more resources. So we've basically found a farmhouse, which is kind of cool. So even comes with our pet chicken, our random in a cage pet chicken. So horde pretty much went the same as expected. Didn't really have any issues. We've got them all turned off so they're not, you know, running and doing crazy stuff, which is always helpful, especially early game. For the first couple of days, food and water was real tricky. We hadn't found the schematics really to do our campfires. Well, I mean, we had our campfires, but we hadn't found our cooking pots and our stuff like that yet. Couldn't make them because we didn't have the forge schematics. There's our outline for our horde base. So trying to just loot murky water, well, to loot the towns, you got to be in the towns, which are a higher chance of, you know, zombies showing up. So it was definitely a rough couple of days to start, and I mean the changes are definitely different. So here's our leftover iron spikes, torches for light out here from last night. The base layer of this house was already cobblestone, so we just increased that as much as we could in the time that we had. Pretty straightforward. We knocked all the non-essentials out. It's got a couple of rooms. There's our claim block. Food and water storage for overflow. Rear door. And then upstairs kind of had this knockout. So my bedroll's up here in case. And then we punched out. We knocked out the framework above the door. So we had line of sight down on our doors. And then did the same thing. This is just side view. Did the same thing back here. And then we forgot to go 2 layers out back here, so we still had some spider issues up top. But, you know, nice thing with this kind of a setup is it allows you to shoot down on the doors. I'm primarily archery. One of the other people's is primarily going to be rifles. So it's a little easier to just be able to sit up here until you get cops and stuff that start spitting acid up at you. But by then, normally we've got a better horde-based setup going. So just kind of the run through on where we're at with that right now. Um, wow. The drop in these early games still. Chicken. Found a chicken. That's not a chicken. So since I spec archery, that primarily makes me the hunter. So for me, taking huntsman, top tier huntsman, 100% more resources from animals using bladed tools. That is awesome. I do have a point into perception for animal tracker. I like to get at least 2 because I like to be able to track deer. 3 is nice, but to do that I gotta burn 7 points into perception, and to be fair, I don't do much in perception because it's all rifles and spears. Infiltrator is nice for clearing stuff, but penetrator you can do because armor reduction with firearms or archery. So, bypassing 20% of armor is nice. 50% on anything with target armor reduction. It's just not worth it for me. The only thing I need in here is animal tracker. I get why it's in here because of Lucky Looter and everything else, but you'd think that they would have moved this back to Fortitude with, your hunting perks. I don't know. Pack mule is still pretty much the same, so you can't complain too much there. So here's your one for Pummel Pete and Skull Crusher. Just increases your attack speed with those 2. So it's really nice that they did that. And that's on everyone. This one's for blades. Archery kind of has its own thing. Intellect. Here's your attack speed for batons. So that's a really nice balance point that I'm glad they did. As far as our stuff, we haven't even started our hard mining or anything like that. We're just barely getting started. But for the moment, all in all, my opinions for Alpha 21 are solid. I don't have any major complaints. It definitely feels a little tougher, but it's a survival game. We're not talking arc tough. It's still, manageable by yourself if you had to. So, can't complain too much. Other than that, I'll probably be doing more on this map here in the future. But that's just kind of a little bit of an Alpha 21 recap for you. Just some moderate changes and kind of go from there. So, I'm going to jump off of here. You guys all have a good day, and we'll talk to you guys later.